If I could change anything about humanity, there's a couple things I would change, but one is that we often have to hit rock bottom before we make a decision to change our lives. And it's totally illogical, right? It's like, why would you wait till things are really bad before you create change? But it's something we all do. And my own personal rock bottom was when I was putting off a decision. I had what I call a spaghetti problem. And I love to eat spaghetti, but spaghetti is very messy. It's interwoven. It's hard to just pick one noodle from the pile. And it's like our emotions are like the spaghetti sauce, like making everything stick together. So you have all these problems, and then your emotions are making everything a big mangled mess. And I had in my life what I refer to as a spaghetti problem. And I was working at my father's church. My father was a pastor at a church, and my former brother-in-law worked at the church. And I thought I might get a divorce. And as you can imagine, I can smile about it these days, and I will smile about it. But as you can imagine, it was a horrific decision to have to make. I was worried how it was going to affect the community I was in. I was worried about disappointing people. I was worried about making the wrong decision. I was worried about, I was going to have to get a new job. I didn't want to continue leading music at the church and have all this going on in my life. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I had friends who I thought I would be friends with forever just literally act like they didn't know who I was in public anymore. And, at that point, it was only fear. Like, they have all those things like, hey, it's probably not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. It was absolutely as bad as I thought it was going to be, or worse. And because of that fear, because of the spaghetti, because it was so entangled, I kept putting off the decision. Well, let me just think about it tomorrow. Let me wait a little bit and see if it gets better on its own, right? And you can see the rock bottom coming. And the stress of indecision on my body shut my body down, and I blacked out while driving. I was completely sober, no prescription drugs, no drinking, just good old-fashioned stress. And my friend grabbed the wheel, so luckily no one was hurt, but it wasn't like on a back road or anything. It was in the middle of the intersection in Charlotte, North Carolina, with people on the crosswalk with other cars coming. And I started going left and then kept going straight into oncoming traffic. And luckily, my friend grabbed the wheel and kind of shook me out of it. But that was my rock bottom moment. I didn't want it to get worse than that. My life absolutely was in danger. The poor people on a crosswalk, if somebody had been walking, it was just terrible. It was just absolutely terrible. I had friends in the car who I put their lives in danger, people I loved, and that was it. And I was like, okay, I have to make a decision. And I think when things get hard and things are complicated and we put off a decision for very good reasons and hoping to avoid that rock bottom, we make our lives worse. When we wait until things get so bad they can't be ignored anymore, we have to start from it's like we have already dug a hole for ourselves. We're already at the bottom of the hole, and now we're having to climb our way out of the hole. So as I was climbing out in the process of my divorce, my health was a wreck. My hair was falling out. I couldn't eat, or I would eat too much. A lot of ice cream with Nutella to kind of manage the sadness. It was, I'm surprised I wasn't in a diabetic coma every day. Then I couldn't digest my food. Then my face was breaking out. I mean, it was just terrible. And I was pretty young. I can't imagine going through that stress as I got older, because my body was pretty resilient at the time. And I want to give people a strategy through this podcast, through Problem Solved, Simple Habits for Complex Decisions, through Problem Solved, Decision Made. I want to give people strategies so they feel empowered to do some of that stuff on the front end, so they don't get to the point that I got to, where their life was in danger and other people's lives were in danger. I don't want them to wait to get to it so bad it can't be ignored anymore. I want to give them a strategy and a courage to face these problems, because there's a lot of people, oh, I'm afraid to face my problems. It's like, well, do you have any strategy for facing your problems? How do you know which problems you should face and which ones you shouldn't? How do you know how to move forward with problems, right? And we forget that indecision is a decision. I'll worry about it later, is a decision. And if we get honest with ourselves and say, I'm choosing to purposely ignore that because I don't want to deal with it. Even that little tiny bit is more honest, right? It's saying, hey, I probably should do something about that, but I'm putting it off, is more honest than, oh, I am doing something about it, but I'm just going to do something about it tomorrow, right? And I will never forget, I have a friend who's a chef, a fabulous chef. We were out to dinner one time, and I said something like, yeah, I'm going to start eating healthy tomorrow. And he goes, everyone's diet always starts tomorrow. It never starts today. And I was like, touche, touche. He's a funny friend. He's called me on a couple things in my life that just like, oh yeah, that makes more sense than what I was thinking. And that was one of those things. And it's like the diet always starts tomorrow. I'll start my business tomorrow. I'll file for divorce tomorrow. I'll sign my kids up for the help they need tomorrow. I will start exercising tomorrow. Whatever it is. But then tomorrow never comes. And this podcast is about making it easier for tomorrow to come. Making it a little easier to manage some of those things so they don't feel overwhelming and you don't feel like you're drowning in them. Or if you feel like, I've got this, great decision maker, great problem solver, if these things are intuitive to you, it's doubtful that you have a language to help the other people in your life who are not as strong in this area. So you have an employee, a child, a spouse, a friend you feel like they're always complaining, you feel like they're always circling around problems and never solving them. And so maybe this is for you to help them. You've got it. But some things, I have always been very musical. And when someone says, hey, how do you sing harmony? That's something really difficult for me to teach because I've always sang harmony. Like when I was a kid, I could sing harmony, right? So it's so intuitive for me to do that. It would be very difficult for me to actually teach the concept because it's so intuitive for me. And I know many of you are really intuitive in those decisions and that leadership, but then it's like, well, why can't you do this? Everybody should know how to do this, right? And so this is also about giving you a language to support others. So I am so excited about this journey. I believe if I do my part and handle it the right way, that it can have an amazing impact on the world and an amazing impact on your life. So welcome to Problem Solved and Decision Made.